I never watched Insidious growing up. My introduction was seeing The Red Door in theaters when it came out. Prior to that, I've always known about this franchise and little to nothing about any of these movies. So with the release of Out the Further coming out, I decided it was finally time to watch the other movies in this franchise. And I did. I watched all first four straight in a row, even have enough time to rewatch The Red Door. This ranking will consist of watching 5 out of 6 movies for the first time. So this is a first time ranking with having no nostalgia to any of the movies. So keep that in mind, especially with how I rank one movie, which I know a lot of people like. I also will be ranking the main villain from each movie after the movies. My number 6 is Insidious, The Red Door. When I first saw this movie, I did think it was fine, but this feels the most unnecessary out of all of them, the most boring out of all of them. It could have been interesting seeing what happened to the family all those years later, and when we see the family dynamics, I think it is pretty solid there. Acting wise, I think it's pretty solid there, and I do like the art and how that's contained with Dalton, even at the end when he paints over the door. The positive ending, I'm not very high on, and I think it takes away some of what actually worked about this movie. One thing I will give it also credit here is they do use Elise better in this movie than they do the 6th movie, so I will give them that. But majority of this movie is Dalton and his dad trying to figure out what is going on with the Further, which we already know after seeing the first 2 movies, so it's just a bunch of repeated stuff. And the dialogue is very cringy, and the most noticeable cringy out of all of them for me. So that is why I have Insidious, The Red Door as my number 6. At number 5, I have Insidious Chapter 2. I know a lot of people really like this movie, but I would like to remind everybody I have no nostalgia for any of these movies. To me, this undoes a lot of what I like about the first movie. It undoes the ending of the first movie and the not happy ending of the first one. Acting wise, I think it's fine. They did dumb down Renee, which was annoying and unnecessary. They make the father so obviously possessed, it can be funny at times. The music also does not age well here. I would say it is less annoying than the first one. I'll give them that. But it's longer, so kind of pick and choose on the day for me. The timeline, I will say I do like, and I was spoiled on the ending already, so I did know that Dalton and his dad would get their memories wiped beforehand at the end of the movie. This is mainly just a movie that is not for me. So my number 4 is Insidious Chapter 3. Chapter 3, again, the first half I didn't care for, and I struggled to get through the first half of this movie. I find the main character to be very boring. There's one scene with the leg though that is pretty creepy. I do like there are stakes in this one, and the fact that she's actually crippled, and that explains why she can't get out of the bed, so it makes sense. This does have the worst villain for me, in my opinion, in this one, just by how easily it is defeated. This does have a theme with loss, because Elise loses her husband, because this is a prequel. And the main girl, I believe, loses her mom. And I do like the mom part of how that ended. I thought that was fine. Do I think that the villain needed to be defeated as easily? No, it's laughable how that is defeated. I do like the hallway sequence though, so I do give them that. So it's just, this also feels the least like Insidious movie. So that's why it's have a little higher than the ones above it. Because I do like the second half, I started to get into more. To her friends that we see in the first movie, and they are annoying in this one, just not as annoying as the next one. I have Insidious Out of the Further, the newest release. Do I think this is a very basic Insidious movie? Yes. Do I think acting wise it's pretty solid, especially with the kid? Yes. Do I really like the ending of this movie? Yes. But there's not a lot too much to talk about with this one for me. I do like the stuff with the family dynamics being in there, and I do like the ending of this one because I feel the ending meets the perfect amount of happiness and devastation at the same time. The child with the physical performance when she's being surrounded did a really good job. The house going into the further though, when Gemma can take things into the further, I really liked. The mom storyline and how it worked with her mind, I did like. It was very obvious where they were going with that route, so that was I saw it coming. Did not see the mind thing coming. That one was a surprise. The whole sequence though, funny enough, was at one point, everyone in my theater was laughing at one point in that sequence, so that is just something that that was one thing I did not expect theater experience wise.
Surprised me was that the music wasn't prevalent in the first half, but was prevalent in the second half. I did find the way they brought Elise in this movie to be out there, with her talking through someone else, and the motivation of her just being she helped her one time with her mom out there. They definitely could have thought that through better.
2, I have Insidious, The Last Key. This is a prequel, of course, and we follow Elise in her childhood home. I had a good time with this one.
I also want to mention, just like the third one, I did struggle to get through the first half as well.
I really liked Keyface in this one. I do like the brother relationship, and acting-wise, the brother did a really good job. I did like the ending with the niece and how she comes to help towards the end. I really liked this movie. It was interesting enough to me. It's not going to be everyone's favorite, but it was actually a step up and a surprise from the second and third one for me.
And the guys are a lot more annoying in this one versus the third installment. And the kiss at the end, that was very unnecessary. Speaking of this one connecting to the first movie where Elise does get the call, I don't like the entire walkthrough where she opens the door and sees Dalton. I would have preferred if it was just a phone call, but it's better ending to the other movies. And it does have the pop-up with the lipstick demon, but it's not as bad as it was in the third one.
At number 1, though, I have the original Insidious. Is the music really loud in this one? Yes. Look at the movie, I was initially very mixed on. I do think the look of the movie makes it stand out compared to the other movies, so I do like that. Acting-wise, I think it is pretty solid, and I do like the story with the family.
Haunted and Not the House.
It also, again, has solid running time, and I struggled to get through 4 and 3, and 2 to a degree, so that's something to say there. And I do like the ending. I did not know the ending where Josh Wood and Elise, which they definitely regret after seeing the ways they tried to bring her back in the other movies. So this was, again, just a solid movie. And had to rewatch any of the Insidious movies, I would probably rewatch the first one. But that is it for the movies. So let's go ahead and get into the villains. My least favorite villain out of the 5 is the man who cannot breathe. The way they defeat this villain is laughable. I believe it's Quinn's mom who comes and takes the mask off and he dies, which is crazy. He does have some stakes and some powers, but he's just so easily defeatable. It's laughable. Really scary looking out of all of them. So the man who cannot breathe, number 5. At number 4, I have Cyrus. Cyrus is the villain in the newest one. He is a cult leader, which is really actually kind of interesting to learn his backstory and how he had others from the further working for him. And to be 3 people prior to working for that. But he looks a lot like Keyface to me, and just not as cool looking, not as powerful as the others, I will say, because they turn on him very, very quickly. So he's not that powerful. Look-wise, I think he's solid enough. So number 4, Cyrus. At number 3, I have the lipstick face demon. This one, I believe, is in the first one and the villain in the 5th one. I do think it looks better in the first movie for me, and it definitely has some stakes with how it attaches. It's very creepy looking. Of course, it does do a pop-up ending for, I believe, 3 and 4, which is annoying, but solid looking demon. Just does not look as good as he does in the first one versus the 5th one. At number 2, I have Parker Crane, or aka Bride of Black. Very interesting background with this character and what it did. And the house looks really cool in the movie, I will say that. This definitely has, again, some power behind him. Very interesting character. not easily defeated, good, bright, and black, solid. But my number one is Keyface. Keyface is my personal favorite out of all of them. One thing that really stands out for me is the key thing and how it silences everybody and holds them down. This is comparable to Cyrus as he does in this movie as well, but it's just more creepy in this one versus when Cyrus does it. I wish Cyrus was a little different, and he definitely would have been higher on my list. So that is it for the ranking of the Insidious movies and the main villains. Comment down below either your ranking or opinions you have about the Insidious movies. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys very soon with a new video.